Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Amplid Big Kahuna. This board features Amplid's cruise camber, which is rocker in the nose, then a mellow camber throughout the rest of the board. That camber is going to give you all the load, pop, snap, and drive, while that rocker in the nose is going to give you ease of entry in and out of turns, as well as more optimal powder float. This board is only available in a 161. I rode this board at Arapahoe Basin on a day that had sunny bluebird skies, high winds at the top of the mountain. You had firm, fast snow turning into creamy, soft snow, chop, chunder, kind of just a mix of every spring-like condition, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. So for a board built for a Sam Squanch, it's actually not super stiff. And it is a directional flex, which means softer nose, and that's going to be accentuated by that rocker, progressively stiffening back up to the tail, with the tail being the stiffest section. The torsional flex is abundant. You can actually really torsionally twist this board when you need to. When it comes to stability, you've got that added width and camber to help you with it. This is one of those boards that remains lively, so you do kind of want to keep your knees bent, but not overly bent. You get a little bit of chatter from that rocker in the nose, but not enough that you feel it abundantly underfoot. It's not really going to fatigue you. When you get into rutted out terrain, this board does a good job of either pushing through it or skipping across it. Like I said, keep your knees a little bit bent, you'll be fine. For the most part, you're not going to get bucked around on this board. It does what it needs to do. It's not an overly snappy board, it's just consistent. You know what you're going to get out of it. When you load that camber up, roll back on the tail, it pops, it gets you in the air. You're not like, wow, I'm going to the moon, but you're like, oh, okay, I'm up, I'm doing this. You know, there's just that level of consistency. So send that side hip, pop off that roller, and ollie that fat skier that fell in front of you. You're not gonna have any problems with it. So with the directional shape of this board and having rocker in the nose, you got this big sweet spot to really pop a 180, press into it, feel it lock, and you get a little bit of spring out of it. Not a lot, a little bit. It does what you need to do. With the tail, you pretty much just end up sitting on the outside of your binding, flexing this board, whether you get sideways or you're going straight, and it holds and does what you need it to do. Obviously, it's the stiffer side of the board, so you're gonna have to put a little bit more work into it to get what you want out of it. It does engage outside the front foot, but it really drives from inside the front foot back through the tail. And if you really want to just lay this thing over, open it up with a lot of space, you're really gonna thank me for it. If you just have a lot of room to really lay it over, it works better than if you're in a tight space. But short, tight, quick carves are fine. Medium, mellow carves where it swoops in and out really are its strong suit. The nice thing is that torsional flex lets you steer it more underfoot than fully having to drive it out at the contact points like you would with something that's more aggressive. If you want to cruise, you can cruise. If you want to lay it over, you can lay it over. It's got power where you need it, but by and large, it's not something that you're like, oh, I've got to bring my A game to when you're trying to drive a carve. Who's this board for? Someone that's a beast of a human in regards to their proportions. You know who you are. This thing's wide and it glides. Honestly, I think I've been sleeping on not recommending this to you bigger footed riders. It's a better ride than a skunk ape or even a stump ape in my opinion. It's got a better camber profile that'll help you progress. It's easier to engage, and it just holds an edge better. Overall, for being the Big Kahuna, it's not something that's like gonna demand your A game out of it. You can be laid back and be totally fine. Comparable boards, the Libtech Skunk Ape, the Nidecker Escape Plus, the Ride Mountain Pig. Binding recommendations, the Rome Cleaver, the Ride C8, the Union Atlas. This has been my review of the Amplid Big Kahuna. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you gonna buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here, do you wanna support us further? Swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.